Your life is literally a movie and you're the main character. And I'm not just saying that, I'm gonna dive deep back into, I'm seeing this is the fractal nature of this entire holographic construct. It's the fractal nature in which the entire universe is abiding by and is able to flourish from. And we know that certain things will resurface or reveal themselves to us within our experience for deeper insight and deeper awareness. And I'm seeing this message, I'm seeing ripple out throughout the field and find you when this practice that we have been aware of throughout lifetimes is ready to be integrated into. I'm seeing like equipped, like a character in combat, like being equipped or something. Like is ready to be equipped. It's a tool that you're able to utilize and master. I'm seeing something that you're exercising as you move through this system. What I'm about to share today is essentially a quantum hack. It's a tool that you're able to utilize as you navigate your third dimensional journeys and move through this terrestrial plane. Not only will you better understand the mechanics of your soul navigating the physical form, but you'll also better understand. And when I say understand, this is something you innately understand. I'm only going to attempt to explain and compress the infinite complex system that we're existing in into human language so that we can integrate this information into our everyday lived experience in a more intentional way. So it's essentially how you're exchanging your life force with this matrix and the realm around you, as well as a magnifying glass into every other living being that's moving through this system. You'll be able to, by the end of this, once integrated, understand those around you in a way that they may have not yet understood themselves. So if you'll be so kind as to come with me as we journey through these 7 portals together so that our human mind can understand something that we innately all understand as eternal beings as we navigate the realm of energy. Let's begin. Imagine your entire being as a vast holographic cinema. You can see it as a 360-degree dome through which you perceive reality. And within this cosmic theater, each chakra acts as a lens of perception, and it will filter how you experience the world around you. And depending on the lens of perception you're wearing, you become attuned to a corresponding layer of reality, where resonant experiences, people, archetypes, opportunities, and energetic exchanges begin organizing themselves around your internal state, or which chakra lens is most dominant in your field and the quality of that chakra, whether it's balanced or imbalanced. The field contains infinitely more information than we can consciously perceive. And as a result, perception acts as a filter determining what becomes visible, meaningful, possible, and available to us. The subconscious programs operating beneath awareness consistently shape how we interpret reality, what we expect from it, and which experiences we find ourselves repeatedly engaging with. And as these filters become visible, previously inaccessible bandwidths of information become available to our awareness. What was always present within the field, but previously outside of our perceptual range, begins to enter conscious experience because our perspectives evolve as we do. So experiences that once felt impossible now become plausible. Opportunities that were previously overlooked come into view, and new layers of meaning emerge from situations we thought we once understood. We'll notice that as we bring these filters into balance, our frequency shifts, expanding the range of information available within our perception, and the quality of our experiences begin to reflect this internal change. Not because reality itself has changed, but because we're now capable of perceiving and engaging with dimensions of the field that were always present, yet previously outside of our awareness. As old filters dissolve, new possibilities emerge, and entirely different ways of experiencing reality begin to reveal themselves to us. The film playing on the inside walls of your auric field changes because the lens through which you're viewing them has now changed. But what if the film you're watching feels stuck? What if the scenes are heavy, dark, or endlessly repeating the same patterns? What if you become so immersed in one version of the story that you've forgotten that there are other possibilities available? That's when it's time to apply your free will of perception and examine the lenses that you're wearing, because the version of reality that you see depends entirely on the filters through which you perceive it. This is the exact analogy that I received this major download in during my time in Egypt, and I call it the quantum cinema. So imagine that you walk into this vast cosmic cinema designed for multidimensional travel. The film playing is Life on Earth, a 3D experience projected into the third dimensional realm. The projector is quantum, and it's casting infinite parallel frames all at once. The screen doesn't show one reality, but instead it holds them all, layered like transparent reels. Before you sit down, you're given a choice, a set of glasses laid out in front of you. There are 7 main pairs, and each tuned into a different frequency band. We have the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, and these are the main matrix lenses. And then we elevate into the heart, the throat, third eye, and the crown, which I like to call the ascension lenses. The glasses you wear determine the version of the film that you'll see. When we wear the root glasses, we're invited to ask, am I safe? As we're introduced to themes of reality that are to do with survival versus safety. This is the lens through which consciousness experiences embodiment, stability, security, resources, as well as participation within the physical realm. When we have an imbalanced root, the film becomes a constant thriller. Every shadow hides a threat, a stranger's glance feels like judgment, the soundtrack hums with unending tension, and you're so locked into fight or flight that you forget that you're in a theatre. You are the movie, trapped in survival mode. Your brain switches to reptilian operations, scanning endlessly for safe or unsafe, and this loop naturally disconnects you from others, which mirrors the disconnection that you have within from your own divinity, as your direction and really attention is directed towards the external physical realm. You're focusing on just surviving the moment. As a spiritual being having a human experience, your vessel can get stuck wearing these root glasses, a psychological and physiological dependency on biochemical reactions that are released into the body. And although cortisol itself isn't addictive, chronic stress floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline, creating a feedback loop where fight or flight feels necessary and familiar. The character begins interpreting every scene through the question, am I safe? Some characters respond by withdrawing from the story altogether, becoming fearful, disconnected, and hesitant to engage with the world around them, and others attempt to control every scene, becoming very rigid, defensive, and resistant to change in an effort to maintain a sense of security. Neutral situations become threatening, uncertainty feels dangerous, and life itself can appear hostile or unpredictable. Resources seem scarce, trust becomes difficult, and the world is experienced as something to defend against rather than participate within. This keeps you locked in fear and scarcity, seeing the world through survival lenses. True freedom comes when you shift your awareness from this primal stress, stepping out of the cortisol rush, and reconnecting with safety and power within. When this filter of perception is balanced, the same root glasses now ground you. You feel safe in the seat, anchored in your body, and aware of the film without fear. You recognize danger when it's real, but you don't live inside of it. The picture stabilizes, and you see the structure beneath the story. The ground you walk on feels unshakable. Even tense scenes don't rattle you. And you watch knowing that you're safe, rooted, and capable. And the movie becomes more of an adventure than a survival test. The reptilian mind returns to its highest service. Rather than controlling and scanning for threats, it actually provides a foundation of safety, security, and stability that allows you to fully participate within the physical experience. The body becomes a trusted vessel through which consciousness can navigate the physical realm. Instead of constantly asking, am I safe? A deeper trust begins to emerge. You feel supported by life, grounded within yourself, and capable of meeting whatever scene unfolds next. Your awareness is no longer consumed by survival, becoming available instead for presence, growth, connection, and creation. And the world no longer appears as something that's working against you, but instead you trust the ground beneath your feet, allowing yourself to engage fully with the story rather than merely surviving it. When we wear the sacred glasses, we're invited to ask ourselves, how am I exchanging energy? as we open ourselves up to themes surrounding sensuality versus shame, the lens through which consciousness experiences desire, intimacy, creativity, pleasure, magnetism, emotional flow, and energetic exchange. Now, the film is infused with desire, passion, and creativity. Every character becomes a muse, a lover, a rival, or an emotional mirror. Scenes are colored by intimacy, or the lack of it. When we have an imbalanced sacral, the scenes are colored with insecurity, shame, or unworthiness. Every relationship in the film becomes a mirror for rejection or betrayal. Desire feels dangerous, and intimacy is either chased desperately or avoided completely. The character becomes fixated on what they believe another person, experience, or outcome can provide for them. Energy exchanges become entangled with unmet needs, emotional dependencies, projections, or attempts to fill an internal void. The frequency beneath the interaction becomes distorted. Some characters shut themselves off from desire entirely, suppressing their emotions and disconnecting from intimacy. Others are consumed by emotional highs and lows, attachments, cravings, or overwhelming feelings that begin directing the storyline for them. Rather than experiencing genuine connection, the characters become consumed by attachment, fear of loss, emotional volatility, or the pursuit of external validation. Every relationship begins revolving around what is missing rather than what's being shared. When you have a balanced sacral, the story turns fluid and alive. Every scene brims with inspiration. Relationships glow with healthy intimacy, joy, and co-creation. Every interaction becomes a dance instead of a power struggle. The characters begin recognizing the frequency beneath every exchange. They no longer relate to others through scarcity, dependency, or the need to be completed. Instead, relationships become opportunities to experience connection, creativity, pleasure, inspiration, and authentic emotional flow. Giving and receiving move into harmony. Desire becomes a force for creation rather than attachment, and the character participates fully in the dance of life, allowing energy to move naturally between themselves, others, and the world around them without needing to possess, control, or cling to the experience. When we wear the solar glasses, we're invited to ask, who am I becoming? As we delve into themes surrounding self-trust versus self-doubt. This is the lens through which consciousness experiences self-worth, identity, confidence, personal power, authentic expression, and the realization of individual potential. The plotline now revolves around willpower, personal identity, and ambition. It's all about your quest, your rise, your achievements, or your perceived failures. When you have an imbalanced solar plexus, the storyline is all about proving yourself or fearing you'll fail. Every character seems to challenge your worth, and success is always just out of reach. You measure your value by applause or criticism. The movie becomes a constant audition. Every scene feels like a test you must pass in order to earn your place in the story. Comparison steals your attention from the path that was uniquely yours to walk, and the character becomes trapped chasing validation rather than embodying their authentic nature. The deeper wound isn't failure itself, it's the belief that your worth must be earned through performance, achievement, or external recognition. Some characters shrink from the spotlight altogether, doubting their abilities and giving their power away, while others overcompensate by attempting to control every outcome, mistaking dominance, perfection, or constant achievement for genuine self-worth. When you have a balanced solar plexus, you become the protagonist who knows their role, and the plot becomes your arena for growth and leadership. Challenges are quests and not threats, and you radiate personal power without dominating others. You trust your path, hold your power, and see yourself as the author and not the victim of your story. Rather than seeking permission from the audience, you recognize that your value was never dependent upon their applause. The character stops performing and begins embodying who they truly are. The story shifts from proving your worth to expressing it. Your confidence no longer comes from controlling the outcome, but from trusting the unique gifts and qualities and essence you were always meant to bring into the world. You stop asking, am I enough? And you begin asking, what am I here to create? When you see life through the heart glasses, you're invited to ask the question, how am I connected? As you open yourself up to themes surrounding wounding versus wholeness. This is the lens through which consciousness experiences compassion, unity, interconnectedness, love, giving and receiving, and relationship with all forms of life. When the heart is in balance, the movie becomes a series of betrayals and closed doors. You notice every slight, every lack of appreciation. The soundtrack plays bittersweet notes of "no one understands me." The movie's scenes are tinged with guardedness, characters feel distant, connection is scarce, and acts of kindness seem suspicious. Some characters protect themselves by closing the heart and withdrawing from connection, while others lose themselves in the stories of those around them, sacrificing their own needs in an attempt to earn love, belonging, or acceptance. When you slip into the balanced heart lenses, suddenly the entire scene shifts. You start seeing the beauty in all characters, opportunities for compassion where before there was only opposition. The same people, circumstances, and experiences remain, yet your interpretation of them changes. Colors brighten, characters soften, and you feel connection threaded through every moment. Even the antagonist has a backstory that makes sense. Compassion and forgiveness become the plot twist that changes everything. You begin seeing life through the lens of interconnectedness, recognizing that every character, every challenge, and every encounter exists within a larger web of relationship. What once appeared separate now reveals itself as a part of the same unfolding story. Compassion reveals dimensions of reality that resentment could never access. The universe no longer feels divided into me and them. Beneath the different roles, costumes, and storylines, you sense the same life moving through all things. From this space, giving and receiving begin to flow naturally. Connection feels safe, vulnerability becomes a bridge rather than a threat, and the heart opens the experience of life itself, allowing love, compassion, and understanding to move freely between all characters on the screen. When you wear the throat glasses, you're invited to ask, how am I expressing? As you open yourself up to themes surrounding sovereignty versus silence. This is the lens through which consciousness translates inner reality into outer reality, informing matter through communication, truth, resonance, and creation. Your awareness tunes into communication, resonance, and truth. The movie isn't just something that you watch, but instead it becomes something that you speak into existence. When you have an imbalanced throat, the film plays like you're an extra with no lines, or every word you say is misunderstood. Your voice feels muted in the film. You withhold truth to keep peace, or speak in ways that distort it. And this miscommunication creates unnecessary plot twists. The scenes feel muffled, conversations loop with resolution, and your truth remains stuck in the script's margins. The character begins feeling unseen, unheard, and disconnected from their own authority. Some characters suppress their voice entirely, remaining silent even when truth wishes to emerge, while others overcompensate through excessive speaking, attempting to force themselves to be heard while becoming disconnected from their authentic expression. What is trying to emerge from within struggles to find expression through the role being played. The signal becomes fragmented, and the reality around them reflects this distortion back through reoccurring misunderstandings and experiences that feel out of alignment. When the throat is balanced, the movie becomes a dialogue between you and the universe. Your words alter scenes mid-play, your truth reshapes the narrative, and your voice is the frequency that shifts the entire plot line. The story becomes a co-creation. You speak truth with clarity and resonance, words become spells, dialogue opens portals into new timelines. You speak with harmony according to your divine essence, allowing what exists within consciousness to flow naturally into the material realm. The throat becomes the bridge through which spirit communicates with form, informing reality through the frequency it carries. Rather than forcing outcomes, you participate in an ongoing conversation with the field itself. The more coherent the signal, the more naturally the storyline begins responding to the consciousness being expressed through you. When you see through the lens of the third eye, you're invited to ask yourself, what am I perceiving? As you open yourself up to themes surrounding insight versus illusion. This is the lens through which consciousness recognizes patterns, archetypes, symbolism, intuition, synchronicity, and the hidden architecture operating beneath visible reality. When you have an imbalanced third eye, this signal becomes extremely distorted or inverted. The storyline feels confusing, chaotic, or just difficult to trust. You begin doubting your own intuition, second-guessing the guidance that arises from within, and questioning whether what you're sensing is real. The deeper patterns become obscured by this mental noise or internal fear, or just overanalysis or projection. Some characters dismiss intuition altogether, trusting only what can be immediately seen and explained, while others become lost in imagination, symbolism, or speculation, struggling to distinguish genuine insight from projection. Synchronicities are dismissed as coincidence, meaningful symbols go unnoticed, and the wisdom attempting to emerge through the subconscious struggles to reach conscious awareness. Without a clear connection to your inner guidance system, every scene can feel random, disconnected, or threatening. Instead of seeing the larger narrative unfolding beneath the surface, you become lost in isolated frames of the movie, unable to perceive how they connect to the greater story. When you have a balanced third eye, these isolated frames begin connecting into a larger narrative, revealing how seemingly separate events have always been participating in the same unfolding story. The hidden storyboard emerges, and you spot synchronicities, archetypes, and divine orchestration woven between frames. The bigger pattern reveals itself, and you know that you're watching a cosmic masterpiece. You see the hidden screenplay, synchronicities, archetypes, and this celestial choreography. You decode the symbolism behind events, watching fate and free will dance together. When you see life through the lens of the crown chakra, you're invited to ask, what am I part of? As you open yourself up to themes surrounding unity versus disconnection. This is the lens through which consciousness remembers its relationship to the greater field, source, unity, divine intelligence, and the interconnected fabric of existence. When you have an imbalanced crown, the connection to the greater field feels distant or absent. The theatre becomes small again, and you forget that there is something beyond the screen. The film appears fragmented, isolated, and devoid of deeper meaning. Some characters feel disconnected from any sense of purpose or higher intelligence, becoming immersed solely in the material storyline, while others become so detached from the human experience that they struggle to remain present within the very story they came here to participate in. You begin identifying entirely with the character, becoming immersed in the struggles, fears, and limitations of the role while losing sight of the consciousness observing it all. The underlying intelligence moving through life becomes difficult to perceive, as synchronicities feel meaningless, challenges seem random, and experiences appear disconnected from any greater purpose or pattern. Without the awareness of the larger field, the weight of the story rests solely on the character's shoulders. You feel separate from life rather than a participant within it, small, disconnected, and confined by the boundaries of the scene currently playing before you. When the crown chakra is balanced, the theatre dissolves. The projector, the screen, audience, film, all merge into one field of awareness. You are the story, the storyteller, and the source light that projects it into being. The boundaries between self and other begin to soften. Beneath every character, every storyline, every scene, you recognize the same field of consciousness expressing itself through countless perspectives. The story becomes a living meditation, because there is no screen, there is no spoon, only infinite awareness experiencing itself. Now here's the twist. Most people believe that they're all watching the same movie. But in truth, the frequency of perception is the unique edit that they're seeing. The more you practice noticing when you switched your own lenses, the easier it becomes to recognize which pair someone else is wearing. You start to see if their movie is being projected through fear, scarcity, joy, love, or anything in between. Instead of getting pulled into their film, you remember it's just their lens, their edit, and their frequency of perception. Because in this cosmic cinema, the glasses you wear aren't fixed, but instead you can switch them mid-movie, you can flick them off, you can replace them with another pair in an instant. Each shift recalibrates your perception. The colors brighten, sounds deepen, and the storyline itself reshapes to match the new frequency that you've chosen. Scenes once locked in conflict rearrange, new characters step forward, and past struggles dissolve into fresh opportunities. This is quantum waveform collapse, your focused awareness selecting which reality crystallizes from infinite potential into form. As your attention focuses on one possibility, other possibilities fade into the background, allowing a particular version of reality to become your lived experience. For example, removing the heavy root lenses of fear and scarcity, let shadows fade, brightening the theatre and opening the narrative to trust and safety. Swapping the sacral lenses weighted with shame and insecurity for balanced ones of creativity and flow shifts the story from emotional turmoil into inspired connection. Choosing solar plexus lenses empowered with self-trust rewrites the plot from self-doubt into confident leadership and authentic expression. With every conscious breath, you become both a viewer and director, collapsing waveforms into the lived experience you choose. This is how you shift from becoming a passive observer into an active co-creator. You're tuning the projector, directing the light, and stepping fully into the role that you were born to play. As we move through these lenses, a deeper narrative begins to emerge. The root shows us, I'm safe to exist. The sacral, I'm safe enough to feel. The solar, I'm safe enough to become. The heart, I'm safe enough to connect. The throat, I'm safe enough to express. The third eye, I'm safe enough to perceive. And the crown, I'm safe enough to remember. Each chakra expands the range of experience available to consciousness, not by adding something new, but by removing the distortions that prevent us from accessing what was always present. As these lenses come to coherence, the movie doesn't simply change, the viewer does. And the goal isn't to permanently wear one pair of glasses, but instead it's to bring all 7 lenses into coherence. Each lens reveals valuable information about reality, and when one lens dominates, perception becomes distorted. When the lenses operate in harmony, consciousness gains access to a broader and more integrated view of the field. The character begins reorganizing the frequency beneath every exchange. And there we have it, my love. Thank you so much for journeying through each one of these portals with me. I'm going to go ahead and do one closing out message with the Gateway of the Light Activation deck, because otherwise I feel like this would be unfinished, and see what it is that you are being invited to, I'm hearing, introspectively look at. Arcturian light codes. Now, this message talks about evolutionary downloads, recalling power, and future thinking. This, I'm seeing tool that you're able to utilize actually restores harmonic order. Arcturus is highly linked to the, you can find this fixed star in the Libra archetype. Now, Libra is all about the scales of justice and restoring our perspective to experience more harmonious exchanges. I'm also seeing to return to harmonic order within us, which is to be seated in this stillness, have a sustained level of awareness in the lens that we're interpreting reality through, and then being able to be seated inside of this 0 point and observe the contrast that happens in the world around us, how each one of us can choose to utilize different lenses. We may not even be aware of our lenses or if they're balanced or imbalanced, but I'm so sure when we look back in hindsight at maybe particular events that have occurred throughout your space-time travels, you're able to identify not only the lenses in which you are wearing and the quality of those lenses, but also there is a deeper understanding of the lens in how another fractal of infinite potential also perceive the world. And so Libra is all about partnerships. It's all about the mirrors of the 3rd dimension and understanding the extensions of ourself. That's what Libra is. It's understanding the we and what is the dynamic between the we. That's what this gives me. Future thinking, recalling power. And from this awareness that you have, there is no longer calls of judgment, but instead those calls are neutralized through the understanding of something that you innately understood. And that allows you to recall your power from unresolved material or energy that is still lingering currently in your field from these interactions and experiences. So, and it also liberates you moving forth. So, yeah, I'm gonna love a newbie right there, my love. I'm very interested to see in the comment section what your take on this analogy is. Could you feel yourself shifting throughout this message? Did you feel this database of memories open up from our exploration into the ways in which we can interpret our life experiences? And was there a lens that you were previously utilizing that you were unaware of, and you were able to observe from an alternate lens? I'm just seeing it like this. Could you look back? I don't know. Could you shift the way that you were relating to an experience as you shift your own lens and recover or integrate the emotional data that lied within that dimension? I'm seeing it as the refraction mechanism, where sometimes we don't understand the lesson inside of an experience until we transcend the experience. We understand that the lesson was already complete, but we're only now able to extract the wisdom from that lesson, because some wisdom can only be found through hindsight. All right, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing, because we'd love to have you around. What if you've made it through to the end? Please be a part of this community. I invite you, I beckon for you to come and safely learn more about what your life experiences on Earth could look like. And yeah, what else? I would say share this message with anyone that you feel needs to hear it as well, or could benefit from it. I'm seeing kind of mind altering. It can bend the way in which we experience or interpret reality dramatically. And yeah, I think it's gold. I don't know. When I got this download last year for it, I was like, this is gold. Anyway, what was I going to say? Also, check out OTTER if you're looking for some high quality AAE grade gemstones. 1 of the proceeds are donated towards OTTER Sanctuaries. You have 2 discount codes for that in the description box. I'm wearing rose quartz, rhodonite, and sunstone today, which are self-love and confidence stones. And yeah, that will be it, my love. Until next time, bye. Are they gone? I think that they're gone. Okay, if you made it to this point in the video, comment down below the rainbow emoji to let me know. Comment down the rainbow emoji to let me know that you're doing this, that you're integrating this. I want to know in the comment section, as you ground and anchor this tool and navigate this terrestrial plane, utilizing this awareness, what do you observe in the field from those around you? Within your family units, within your friends, within your co-working environments, within the world around you, this whole holographic construct that you're immersed in. What are your observations, not judgments, but how are you able to understand on a deeper level the frameworks in which a fractal of infinite potential may be perceiving reality through? What do you gather? All right, I want to do a little data collection. What are the insights that reveal themselves through your introspection that ultimately allow you to return to freedom? Let me know.